Hello, I'm Katie Derham and welcome to the Richard Burnett Historical Collection of Early Keyboard Instruments, which forms the core of what used to be the Finchcocks Musical Museum and which is still the most exceptional resource and charity for anybody who's passionate about early keyboards.
Hello, my name is Maggie Cole. I'm delighted to be here in the home of the Richard Burnett Collection of Historic Keyboard Instruments. Today, I'll be introducing you to a very beautiful Viennese fortepiano. So here I am seated at this beautiful instrument by Conrad Graf of Vienna, built in 1826. And the first thing you might notice is the fantastic mahogany veneer, just so rich and shiny. The next thing I want to point out is that the action of this piano is very typical of Viennese pianos. So what we have are the hammers directly mounted on the backs of the keys. And this means that we have this fantastically direct contact with the strings, producing an immediacy of response. And I always find that in music of this period, which is so full of character and so full of nuance, I want to be able to have a thought, the composer's thought, coming through me and directly being expressed in sound. And this is what these instruments do wonderfully well. I'd like now to show you the four pedals that we have on this instrument. The one on the left is really very similar to what we have on the modern piano. In this case, it's the due corda, and it just shifts the action so that the sound is less present than it is when it's in its full capacity. The second one is quite fantastic. It's called the bassoon effect, bassoon pedal, and it's produced by a roll of paper coming into contact with the strings and producing this rather rasping, buzzing sound, so you get kind of effect. And I rather love it because sometimes we have the idea that all classical music is about being beautiful and expressing beautiful sentiments. And I often think, no, it includes, of course, the other sides of life, which are sometimes not so beautiful. And there's a sound which instantly gives us that quality. The next one along is something we call the moderator pedal. And this is a very veiled, incredibly dreamy sort of sound produced by a piece of cloth being brought into contact with the strings. So it's between the hammers and the strings, and it produces this sound. So used very specifically for dreamlike passages. And finally, the one on the right, the sustaining pedal, which absolutely is like our normal, well, not normal, but our modern day pedal, sustaining pedal. The dampers are lifted, and as long as they're lifted, the sound resonates until the dampers are put down. So you all know this one very well. So a veiled and very connected sound. And now, in fact, I would love to play you a solo piece of music by Beethoven. It's his Bagatelle No. 6, Opus 33, which I've chosen really very specifically. It shows the gentle lyrical side of this piano. And Beethoven wrote us a beautiful little message at the beginning of the piece, which is that in Italian, I'll translate into English, he says, please play in a speaking manner. So this, he's suggesting to us, you know, let it speak in a normal, slightly improvised manner. And I think the piece does that very well. The piano does that very well with all of its fine nuances. And the second reason I chose it is right at the end of this bagatelle, there's a long passage which fades to a close, and I'm able to use the sustaining pedal without lifting it for quite a long time. And this is something that these early pianos do beautifully. So the sound and the harmonies become clouded, and it's something that on the modern piano we might find much harder to do, or our modern sensibilities wouldn't allow for it. So you'll hear that effect right at the very end of the piece. I would like now to introduce you to Sebastian Comberti, my friend and colleague, who's coming to join me with his cello. Will play for you two movements from Beethoven's Sonata in A major, Opus 69, which I've chosen just to show how wonderful these Viennese instruments are in the playing of chamber music. All of the colors and all of the nuances and all of the radical nature of Beethoven's music, I think, is shown very beautifully in this piece. Thank you so much for joining me and Sebastian today. And I hope that you've enjoyed finding out about the instrument and hearing the solo and chamber music that we've played to you today.
If you'd like to find out more about the charity and the workshops and the events that take place here, then please do so. If you'd like to support, we'd like you to do that as well. Go to the comments section beneath this film or go and visit the Finchcocks charity website.